In the quiet town of Oak Ridge, nestled in the rolling hills of Virginia, life moved at a gentle pace. The streets were lined with old oak trees, and the local military base, Fort Harrison, cast a long shadow over the community. Many folks here had served in the armed forces, and their stories filled the air at diners and church gatherings. But for Sergeant Alina Ramirez, a decorated Army veteran, the shadow felt heavier than most. Alina had grown up in Oak Ridge, the daughter of a factory worker and a school teacher. She joined the Army right out of high school, driven by a fire in her belly to prove herself. At 5 feet 4 inches tall, with dark hair tied back in a neat bun and eyes that held the weight of distant battles, she didn't look like the typical soldier in folks' minds. But she was tough as nails, having served 2 tours in Afghanistan with the 101st Airborne Division. Her unit, known as the Eagle Warriors, had a secret code, a phrase whispered in the darkest moments to rally spirits: wings of steel, hearts of fire. Now, at 35, Alina worked as a nurse at the Oak Ridge Veterans Hospital, a modest building on the edge of town. She had left active duty after a roadside bomb left her with a limp and a heart full of grief for lost comrades. Nursing was her way of giving back, tending to the old soldiers who came through the doors with bodies broken and minds haunted. But not everyone saw her strength. Dr. Harlan Thorpe, the head physician, was a tall man in his 50s with a sharp tongue and a habit of looking down on those he deemed lesser. He had never served, coming from a wealthy family that kept him out of the draft. To him, Alina was just the little lady with the cane, as he mockingly called her in staff meetings. "Stick to changing bedsheets, Ramirez," he'd say with a smirk, ignoring her suggestions on patient care. The other nurses, mostly younger women, giggled behind her back, calling her the bossy vet when she pushed for better treatment plans. One crisp autumn morning, a new patient arrived. His name was Colonel Marcus Hale, a grizzled veteran in his 70s, wheeled in after a bad fall at home. Marcus had served in Vietnam with a Special Forces unit, the Ghost Riders, known for their covert operations. He was stubborn as a mule, refusing all treatment from the get-go. "I don't need your pity," he'd growl at the staff, his voice rough from years of barking orders. His chart showed advanced lung cancer, likely from Agent Orange exposure, but he waved away meds and scans. "Just let me be," he'd say, staring out the window at the falling leaves. Alina was assigned to his care. On her first shift, she entered his room with a warm smile. "Good morning, Colonel Hale. I'm Nurse Ramirez. How about we get you comfortable?" He barely glanced at her. "A woman playing soldier, save it. I don't need help from the likes of you." His words stung, echoing the mockery she faced daily. Alina felt a flush of anger, but she swallowed it down. She had faced worse in the field. Bullets and bombs didn't care about gender. Instead, she adjusted his pillow gently. "I've been where you've been, sir. Let's make this easier." But Marcus turned away, his refusal firm. Days passed and his condition worsened. He wouldn't eat, wouldn't take pain meds. The staff whispered about him, calling him the old crank. Dr. Thorpe dismissed Alina's concerns. "He's just stubborn. Don't waste time on him, little lady." Alina's heart ached. She saw the pain in Marcus's eyes, the unspoken battles he fought alone. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Alina sat by his bed during her break. She shared a story from her deployment, a night when her unit was pinned down and they whispered their code to stay strong. Marcus's eyes flickered, but he said nothing. Little did she know, this was the spark that would ignite a deeper connection. As the days turned into weeks, Alina faced more injustice. During a staff meeting, Dr. Thorpe blamed her for a mix-up in meds that wasn't her fault. "See, this is why we need real professionals," he sneered while the others nodded. Alina stood tall, her voice steady. "I've saved lives in worse conditions than this." But inside, doubt crept in. Was she fighting a losing battle? Yet she persisted with Marcus. She brought him homemade soup from her kitchen, talked about Oak Ridge's history to distract him from the pain. Slowly, his gruff exterior cracked. One night, he muttered, "You remind me of someone from my unit, a tough kid who never backed down." Alina smiled, sensing a shift. but his health declined faster and she worried he wouldn't last. The hospital buzzed with tension. Alina overheard nurses mocking her again, thinks she's a hero because she wore a uniform. It hurt, but it fueled her. She dove into Marcus's records, learning about his unit's secret code. Shadows fade, riders rise. It was a phrase used in radio silence to confirm identity during ops. As part one drew to a close, Alina stood at Marcus's door, whispering to herself, "I won't let you fade, Colonel." The story was just beginning, with secrets waiting to unfold. The leaves in Oakridge turned a fiery red as autumn deepened, mirroring the growing fire in Alina's spirit. She refused to let the mockery break her. Each morning, she arrived at the hospital with her head high, her limp a badge of honor rather than shame. Dr. Thorpe's insults rolled off her like rain on a tent, annoying but not defeating. Marcus Hale's room became her sanctuary and battlefield. He still refused treatments, his body wasting away. But Alina noticed small changes. He'd eat a bit more when she brought food, listen when she spoke of her service. "You ever lose someone close?" he asked one afternoon, his voice softer. Alina nodded, sitting by his bed. "My best friend, Private Lopez. IED got him, I carried him back, but—" Her voice trailed. Marcus's eyes met hers, a shared understanding passing between them. "War takes pieces," he said. "My unit lost half in Nam. We had a code to keep going, shadows fade, riders rise. Meant we come back stronger." Alina's heart skipped. She had read about it, but hearing it from him made it real. She shared her own, wings of steel, hearts of fire. For the first time, Marcus chuckled. "Good one, sounds like airborne talk." But the injustices piled up. At a town hall meeting about veteran care, Alina spoke up for better funding. Dr. Thorpe, there as a speaker, cut her off. "Nurse Ramirez has ideas, but let's leave it to experts." The crowd murmured, some laughing. Alina felt small, but she finished her point, earning nods from a few old vets. Back at work, a young nurse, Sarah, confronted her. "Why do you push so hard? You're just making enemies." Alina replied calmly, "Because someone has to." That night, she researched more on Marcus's unit, uncovering stories of bravery and betrayal, a mission where command left them hanging. Marcus opened up more. He told of jungles thick with danger, friends lost to ambushes. Alina shared her sands of Afghanistan, the heat and fear. Their bond grew, but his cancer advanced. He coughed blood, winced in pain, yet refused chemo. "No machines keeping me alive," he'd say. One stormy evening, Alina stayed late. Thunder rattled the windows as she checked his vitals. "Colonel, you need treatment for your family." He had a daughter in California, estranged. Marcus shook his head. "They don't understand." Alina leaned in. "I do, let me help." But he turned away. Frustrated, she left, but not before nodding his dog tags engraved with his unit's emblem. The next day, Dr. Thorpe assigned her extra shifts, punishment for overstepping. Exhausted, Alina pressed on. She called Marcus's daughter, urging a visit. "He's stubborn, but he needs you." As tensions rose, Alina faced a moment of doubt. Alone in her small suburban home, she cried, remembering the bomb that changed her. "Am I strong enough?" But morning brought resolve. The part ended with Alina at Marcus's bedside, whispering, "Shadows fade." He stirred, eyes widening. The hook was set for deeper revelations. Winter whispered its arrival in Oakridge, blanketing Fort Harrison in a light snow. Alina's journey deepened, her strength tested like never before. The mockery at work turned to outright sabotage. A missing file blamed on her, leading to a write-up from Dr. Thorpe. "One more slip and you're out," he warned. But Alina's focus stayed on Marcus. His refusals weakened as their talks lengthened. He spoke of a betrayal in Vietnam, a superior who sold out their position for personal gain, costing lives. "That code saved us that night," he said. "Whispered it to know who was friend or foe." Alina shared her own injustice, a promotion denied because women don't lead in combat, despite her valor. "I earned it," she said, voice steady. Marcus nodded. "You did. Don't let them dim your fire." His health plummeted. Doctors pushed for hospice, but Alina advocated for one last try. In a heated meeting, she confronted Thorpe. "He's responding to personal care. Give him a chance." Thorpe laughed. Emotional nonsense from the vet nurse. The room fell silent, but Alina stood firm, earning respect from a few colleagues. Marcus's daughter, Lisa, arrived. A woman in her 40s, eyes like her father's. "Dad's always been stubborn," she said. Alina helped bridge the gap, sharing stories that softened Marcus. For the first time, he accepted pain meds, whispering, "Thanks, kid." But injustice struck again. Thorpe reassigned Alina, claiming conflict of interest. Heartbroken, she fought back through channels, gathering support from other vets. "She's the best we have," one said. Alone, Alina reflected on her sacrifices. The friends lost, the body scarred. It built her resolve. She sneaked visits to Marcus where he confessed, "I refused treatment because I felt guilty," survived when others didn't. The emotional peak came when Alina found old letters from his unit, revealing the traitor's name, still alive, living richly. "Justice," she murmured. As snow fell, Alina whispered the code fully. "Shadows fade, riders rise." Marcus gripped her hand. "You know it." The truth was unfolding. Spring buds bloomed in Oakridge, symbolizing hope amid struggle. Alina's fight for justice intensified. With Marcus's blessing, she dug deeper into the betrayal, using hospital resources discreetly. She found evidence. The traitor, General Vance, now a consultant in D.C., profiting from war stories. Marcus, inspired by Alina's strength, agreed to treatment. "For you, kid," he said. Chemo started, grueling but hopeful. Lisa stayed, mending bonds. At work, Thorpe's tyranny peaked. He demoted Alina, but she rallied staff, exposing his mismanagement. "We deserve better," she said in a private meeting. Support grew. Emotional beats hit hard. Marcus shared a photo of his unit, pointing to a young soldier. "That was me. We were family." Alina teared up, seeing parallels to her own losses. A moment of sacrifice. Alina risked her job by confronting Thorpe publicly. "Your ego hurts patients." He fired her on the spot, but vets protested, forcing a review. Marcus improved slightly, enough to whisper, "You're the rider who rose." Alina smiled, her journey to redemption nearing. The part closed with Alina uncovering Vance's address, planning a confrontation. Tension built for the finale. Word count, approximately 550, building to climax. Part 5, Wings of Redemption. Summer sun warmed Oakridge as Alina's story crested. Jobless but unbroken, she drove to D.C. with Marcus's letters. Confronting Vance, she laid out the evidence. "You betrayed them." Shocked, he denied, but Alina recorded it, exposing him online. Media storm followed, Vance disgraced, justice served. Back home, the hospital board fired Thorpe, reinstating Alina with promotion. "Your strength saved us," they said. Marcus, in remission, stood at her ceremony. As nurse whispered his code. In a twist, Alina had whispered it during a crisis, unlocking his will to fight. It was her unit's code too. No, the twist, Marcus revealed Alina's father was in his unit, the code linking them. "He saved me once. Now you did." Alina earned respect, mocked no more. She walked tall, limp and all, a hero redeemed. The town honored her and Marcus reunited with family. In a satisfying end, Alina whispered both codes. "Wings of steel, hearts of fire. Shadows fade, riders rise. Strength eternal."